A lot of times people think that social media is just for small business, or if you're a marketer, or you're an entrepreneur, because social media is by definition very social. So most people think about it in terms of how to advance an individual's product, really. Um, and I think that actually social media has a lot of application in corporate environments as well. So if you're a corporate employee, this is for you. I think social media actually represents a major opportunity for you too. I gave a keynote speech recently in Toronto at a conference, and the audience was not my usual audience of entrepreneurs and online marketers, but it was a lot of more corporate staff sort of people, and folks who weren't even necessarily in the marketing department. And they were interested in trying to figure out how social media could be helpful to them. By this point, everybody knows that you can use social media to find your high school friends on Facebook and keep in touch with your family and waste a lot of time at work on Twitter or reading blogs and so forth. But as a business opportunity for employees who are not in the marketing department, where does that leave you? Are you left out? No, I don't think so. I think that social media actually is a revolution for everybody. And that includes you if you're not in the marketing department. Here's why. Because social media is new and it offers tremendous leverage. The leverage of social media means that you, with a couple clicks of your mouse and a couple keystrokes on your keyboard, you can reach out and more efficiently reach more people, more cost effectively than ever before. So now that sounds like a marketing application. I know, of course it does, because it is. But it also is important for you if you work in a company, and here's why. Because a whole point of a company is collaboration. Collaboration is why companies exist, so people can communicate better. So even if you're internal to a company in an internal facing role, you can put social media to work to advance your personal career as well as the goals of your department and the company as a whole. Here's some examples. How about using social media to cut down the phone bills or the travel expenses? If people within your company can collaborate better, using webcams like I'm using right now, using podcasts like many of you might be listening to later in the replay at scottfoxradio.com, or using blogs. Internal blogs can be used just like external blogs. Social networks can be used inside a company as an intranet so that people can meet each other and collaborate more effectively and cheaper. So think about what that could do, say, for the design department. Lots of back and forth about designs. Well, that's about communication, isn't it? Think about the challenges that are faced by the human resources department when they're doing training or trying to keep up with people, manage their careers and coaching. Think about the sales team. I mean, social media is perfect for finding new customers and building and nurturing relationships into sales. Even the marketers, they might need training. A lot of people claim to know what social media is about but haven't really used it yet. The key here really is to get your hands dirty. Getting your hands dirty personally, especially if you're a senior executive, I think the opportunity here is for you to demonstrate some leadership by getting your hands dirty. Do it yourself. I know one of the big goals of being a senior executive is to not have to get your hands dirty anymore. You have people that you pay to do that, right? I mean, I've been there. I was a senior executive at a very large multinational company just a couple years ago. It was my last corporate gig. I had staff all over the world. But social media requires you to engage, not necessarily to do it as your full-time job, but at least enough so that you really understand what I'm talking about. Go and set up your own Facebook account, get a Twitter account, do this stuff. And if you understand it, you'll soon find that opportunities emerge for you within your company. Again, even if you're not a marketer. Because you can take a leadership role. There is more opportunity in companies right now for those who know social media, I would guess, than in any other area. Social media is the soft spot right now because most people still don't know how to use it. Now, those of you that are social media pros that watch this show are laughing, saying, blah, 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 who doesn't know this? Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. Most people still don't know what you're talking about. Most people do not live on Twitter. Most people are struggling just to keep up with their very old-fashioned Outlook email. Okay? A BlackBerry is high-tech to most corporate executives, and that means there's an opportunity for those of you who work in big companies to find or even create a leadership role by evangelizing the uses of social media within your company. I think you can use social media to make yourself look smart. You can find the latest news more easily by following the right people on Twitter. for example. You can read a bunch of blogs in your industry. You can comment on those blogs. You can raise your personal profile by friending people on LinkedIn and Facebook, other people in your industry, perhaps people who are more senior than you, perhaps even competitors. What if you launched your own show? Like this. This is the Scott Fox Show. But what if you are the cog, the 14th or the 1400th employee in the XYZ department of multinational corporation XYZ. All right, you are just a number. But everybody in that company is soon going to know who you are if just once a month you get on blogtalkradio.com like I'm doing right now and you interview a senior executive in your company. That's right, just like you were going to take them out to lunch. Get the vice president on the phone and just say, hey, Jim, can I ask you 10 questions about what you do? And do it on a Blog Talk Radio conference line like the one I'm using right now for free. If you did that once a month for 6 or 8 or 10 months, do you think everybody in your company would not know who you were? Don't you think everybody in your company would start paying attention to you, employee number 678-B, the faceless cog in that big corporation? A couple of those casual lunch chats turn into podcasts or blog posts, and soon you're a rock star. You're a social media rock star demonstrating leadership in a cutting-edge area that most of the people in the company still don't understand how to use. That's how you get noticed, buddy. That's how you rise up the corporate ladder. And you can do this in any part of the company. I don't care whether you work on the factory floor, in the corporate head office, in the cafeteria in a branch office, or you're a delivery driver. All of those areas have people that care about them. They're important to the business. And if you were to step out, raise your head, and use social media cleverly and effectively, it's going to advance your career because more people are going to know who you are. That's the opportunity of this generation. I think that you should seize it. Intellectual capital like that is increasingly more important than the physical capital that it takes to run a business. Now, take that same show, and what if every third or fifth interview you threw in a competitor? Or a journalist who covers your industry? Who's going to like you now? Everybody's going to hear about that. All eyes on you. Now, I know you might be shy. That might be more attention than you want. But you don't have to do it as a podcast or a video cast. How about a little newsletter or a blog? Or just updates on your Facebook page. Hey, I talked to Jim Smith. He's the head of XYZ division, and he had 6 things that he thought were important for succeeding in this line of work. Bing, 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 bing. That's how you get noticed. So I think social media offers you leverage. That's the kind of leverage that you can use to advance your career. Even if you're not a marketer, if you're not going to quit that big company and start your own business, these sort of social media tools can be advantageous to you to leverage your free time. You know, stop, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, stop watching Lost. Turn off the TV 1 or 2 hours a week, and you can do this. You can do this, and it can make a difference to your life, to your career, to your financial situation, to your family. It can make you happier. Why? Because you're a rock star. Who doesn't want to be a rock star? So that's an idea I have for you that I wanted to share. Because social media doesn't require a big time commitment, a lot of money, or for you to quit your job. Unlike 20th century projects, you can do this a little day by day. And that's actually easier if you have a full-time job. If you hit Facebook for, say, 7 days straight, 24 hours a day, that's just going to annoy people anyway. You'd be better off visiting Facebook for 10 or 15 minutes 4 or 5 days a week. That's how you make progress in social media. That's how you build relationships. That's how you build an audience. That's how you advance your career. That's how you find a place for yourself. You've been wondering what to do. You work for this big company. You're not sure what's next. That's what you do, okay? You've done well enough to find that big job. And you've done well enough to make the money to afford the computer to watch this show. But you're watching the show because you're looking for something more. That's what I think could be for you. All right? I'm Scott Fox. You've been listening to The Scott Fox Show. There's plenty more coming up. Next, we're going to give away a copy of Seth Godin's Linchpin. I've got some new webcams to show you that my friends at Microsoft sent me. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. and at blogtalkradio.com or scottfoxradio.com. That's what I'd like to see you do with your career. I hope that's helpful.